time to talk about some Chicago Bears football, and it is time to talk about training camp. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears, as I mentioned. So if you are new to the channel and you are a Bears fan, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And guys, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Let's get into it. All right, so training camp has been going on for a week now. A little over a week, I think, or just about. And I haven't given you guys an update on training camp, right? I haven't been giving you guys the updates in terms of day-to-day what we've been seeing in training camp. So let's talk about some of my quick takeaways from this week of training camp and what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard, everything else in between, okay? So let's start with number one, all right? The first takeaway, let's talk about the quarterback situation. Andy Dalton seems to have control of the offense, and he has been solid, okay? And this shouldn't surprise a lot of people. Obviously, we're talking about a guy who's been in the NFL for 11 seasons now, and he's got all the experience in the world. But he still did just learn the playbook this year. Obviously, the Bears just signed him this year. So Andy Dalton looks like he's got control of the offense. Now, again, he hasn't been, flawless, still throwing picks here and there and whatnot. But for what the Bears need and the situation that the Bears had from last season with Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky in that competition, this looks to be an upgrade. And I'll be the first one to admit, again, I'm not a big Andy Dalton fan, but he does seem to be an upgrade over what we had last season, okay? And speaking of the quarterback situation, obviously we all want to talk about Justin Fields, and Justin Fields has looked really good in training camp, all right? He's been very solid. He's shown the flashes, but at the same time, I got to be honest here. There's been mistakes. There's been those rookie mistakes from Justin Fields that you might expect a rookie to make. And why that's important to highlight is because for Justin Fields to win the starting job, I have been telling you guys all offseason that he pretty much in training camp had to be flawless. He has not been flawless. He's been very good, but not flawless. And why that's important is because, like I've just mentioned, this pretty much confirms that Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback come week one of the NFL season. I do not expect Justin Fields to start. And with what we've seen in training camp thus far, that confirms it even more because Andy Dalton hasn't looked bad and Justin Fields hasn't been flawless. Still great, still phenomenal. You see the upside, you see the flashes, but not flawless, all right? So that's the quarterback situation. My second takeaway, Jesse James has pretty much locked in that tight end 3 spot. Jesse James has been making some unbelievable catches. His chemistry with Justin Fields has been great. He's been getting a lot of looks over the middle of the field. And yeah, Jesse James, is making this roster as the third tight end, okay? So we're going to have, obviously, Cole Kmet, and then Jimmy Graham, and Jesse James, I believe, will be that third tight end. He is shown in training camp and showed up and showed out, so he's getting that spot. All right, third takeaway. The defense feels different. It feels like it's been revitalized. I've been telling you guys this with new defensive coordinator Sean Desai. I believe this defense is going to take a step forward from where they were last season, and we're going to see a defense similar to 2018 than we saw in 2019 and 2020. So I'm excited. The pass rush has been solid. I told you I'm hyped about Robert Quinn, who finally came into camp healthy and looks like he might be actually healthy to start the season. The linebacking core is obviously unreal with Roquan Smith. We still got Khalil Mack there. Eddie Goldman back in the defense, in the middle of the defense to shore that up. So our defense, they're playing with a swagger. They're playing with a sense of urgency that we haven't seen. So I'm excited about the defense, and I think they are going to get back to their elite ways this season. All right, so that's my third takeaway. Let's talk about number 4. And that is second-year players emerging. Okay, so we know my favorite second-year player to break out this season, which is obviously Cole Kmet. All right, and Cole Kmet's been solid in training camp, and I believe he's going to break out. But Darnell Mooney has still been very, very good, and he has solidified himself as that number 2 receiver, and he's been so solid that the Bears traded away Anthony Miller because they feel comfortable in Darnell Mooney. So I expect him to be very good this upcoming season. And then Jalen Johnson. What about Jalen Johnson taking solid control of that number 1 cornerback spot after we cut Kyle Fuller? Jalen Johnson's been unreal. So the second-year players in Jalen, Darnell, and Cole Kmet, they're going to be very important to the Bears' success this year, and I expect all three, especially Cole, to make a big leap this upcoming season. And finally, my last takeaway is Damien Williams has been solid. And Damien Williams is going to be a big part of this Bears offense, especially early on, because, again, Tariq Cohen has not been fully recovered, and he still looks like he's weeks away from being a impactful player and the player that he was previous to his ACL injury. So, behind David Montgomery, we don't have a lot. And now we have Damien Williams. And so I should say we didn't have a lot. Now we have Damien Williams. And I believe he's going to be a big help. All right. So with Tariq Cohen hurting and that clearing the way for Damien Williams, he's going to get a lot of work, both as rushing the football and also catching it as well. So I'm excited about that. Damien Williams looks to be a fantastic pickup for the Bears. So those are my 5 takeaways from training camp, folks. Let me know what you guys have seen. Have you seen anything else that I may have missed? Leave a comment down below. Let me hear it, folks. I can't wait for the season to start. Preseason right around the corner. The season's right around the corner. Let's get it. Let's go Bears.